Konene. So kuna vile CITAM ilikuwa na trend jana na ilikuwa na trend juu ikikam to story na ati wali turn down ama wali turn back protesters on Wednesday night. And ilikuwa a very interesting conversation ama a very interesting trending topic because of course unajuaga me CITAM any other church I know these are businesses and the businesses need to make profit and no one wants to put their business in danger, so I don't know what happened, but funny enough I don't have that dog in this fight. Nikushua kuna watu assume more since fikiria hivi utaenda hapo dismiss church. Zizi sitaki kudismiss church. I don't know what happened, but wacha tusikize kile like the church itself ended up releasing a video na wakabaki wamejitetea.
He gave instructions, that anybody who needs refuge, and this is on record, that they can be given access. We have done this before last year. When there were demonstrations, there were people who actually got access and were given refuge. Now, our caretaker stayed, because now having been told that sometime in the early evening yesterday, he stayed on at the gate until 1:30 a.m. in the morning, waiting for anybody who may need help. Nobody came. Nobody showed up.
So Ubude anasema nobody came, and I don't know, because I think I'd seen a certain receipt and I feel really bad that siku retweet, but receipt yenyewe ilikuwa ni inaonyesha mtu alifika I think up around Valley Road alafu akabaki amerudi tao. Wanasema that mtu alikuwa denied access alafu after alikuwa denied refuge and they had to go back and book a lodging in town. And what I find to be super weird about this whole story ni even by 1 a.m. people still didn't feel safe enough. Like what was happening on Wednesday night? I don't know what was happening on Wednesday night, but tutabaki nitaendelea kufuatilia hii story. Ikikam to CITAM is a church. Saizi wasome amua ni Occupy Statehouse inafaa ku happen this Sunday, and shida hii kitu moja ile naweza sema juu ya shida hii ni old women and young kids go to church, and the church is supposed to be a very safe place. So naweza sema maybe not all fights are supposed to be fought in that way. Maybe the only kitu naweza sema ni kama Gen Z wale mna contribute gitu hizi churches, mkienda contribute less ama go to other churches and avoid going to that church. With that way mnaweza baki more punish the lose revenue, because don't forget it's a business. History yote ya nini zi pastor sijui kile ana drive, but najua ni some German machine ama ni some kasi hivyo ni kiprado fulani. So I know it's a business, and if the business starts losing, because even there was a chat going on online ile nilicheck ilikuwa outrage watu, and kwa the chat one of them I think the church members was talking about tukiendelea kujidistance from easy protest and these people can seek refuge in mosques, they are going to convert their religion and they are going to go to Islam. That's not what we want, blah blah blah. Acha nione, I think I have part of that. Iko na mtu anaitwa Wajira Joroge 1925 Community Connect, I don't know what that is. Then Frida commented, the church has failed the people and it's sad. Then Wajira Joroge akaandika, when we say the church, what are we talking about? Is it the building or is it the people? I'm not here to say about what happened is right, but also there are major things that we need to consider before we go online to speak. One, the church is not the building, but the community of believers. It's not just the leadership, but all of us. So if we say the church has failed, we say that we have failed. Anytime you rise and say something negative about the church, remember you are part of it. Two, every year during Maandamano, the finger points to the church. And what happens to the Muslims? They are praised. So with you bashing the church, what are you promoting? People leaving the church, people validating why they don't come to church, and sadly, people converting to Islam. This is contrary to what we are sent to do. Then akabaki ameingia into the prophet Habakkuk mode. Yes. Akasema 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 20. We are therefore Christ ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us. We implore you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. Hallelujah. Yes, hallelujah. Okay, that's a bad joke, but there's a whole reason why every Yesu ametokea Kenya amekuwa Mluya. Jina hallelujah. Okay, poleni. So guys, it's just on the surface, the noise and the trends online. It's spiritual. There are two kingdoms at war, the kingdom of darkness and the kingdom of light. So if you bash the kingdom of light, what is happening to the other kingdom? Damn. Okay, I don't know what happened at CITAM. I don't know if anyone was turned back, because these things, the way they work, the internet, sometimes fake news spreads super fast. Sometimes kuna ka atheist fulani kanaweza kuwa kanataka kubash church alafu kameamua hivyo, si mimi lakini. So I don't know. And talking of atheism, before I move to the next topic, kulikuwa na hii challenge. Kuna pastor alisema wanaume watakosa nguvu za kiume in April, bado tuko na nguvu za kiume. Alafu Ndura Waroinge alikuja hapa iko nini, kasema Ruto would leave by the end of June. Mika Prophet Habakkuk kasema because I just speak to the Lord. Yes, talks through me. I know sometimes you might doubt it. The Lord works in mysterious ways. You might think I'm an atheist, but I'm not an atheist. Just Prophet Habakkuk. Yeah. So how many days does Nani have? Yuko na siku 3 for his prophecy to come right. And is it going to come right? I don't know, man. But it was just one of those things where I was using that as an opportunity to say all these things about prophecies, blah, blah, blah. It's a joke to me. Me, of course, when I predict the future, and kisema Ruto amepatiana license to kill and what, I'm just using patterns. Najua, everything creates a pattern. It's not something, I cannot come up with something random that there's no pattern to any pattern to use to justify that. Yes, but wacha tutoke hapo kwa watu wa CITAM. Do I think you need to occupy the church? I don't know, man. Kumekuwa na a lot of backlash to these stories of protest that I don't know what to think about, because I have an interesting story that I saw. If you have to go back to the protest, ilikuwa ni watu wanataka kucancel Okiya Omtatah. Okiya alibaki ameenda kwa hii podcast ya NTV, Fixing the Nation. Akabaki amesema, I was against the march to State House because I knew people would get killed. Kenyans must avoid an uprising, but instead channel their anger into a revolution via the ballot come 2027. And there's nothing wrong with this statement. He was against this because people would be murdered. What's so controversial about this? That now, watu wamemuita sellout, watu wamesema he's working for Ruto. And Musamaga, like, I understand two things. I understand the need that Ruto needs to go yesterday, but I also understand the fact that he's the duly elected president. And with that, as much as we don't like him, we chose him. Let's go back to Lekop, where jana ule nilikuwa nimecheza clip yake ule kwa nasema nyinyi ndio mlichagua huyu rais. So since mlimchagua, you have to live with your consequences. You can't be like, because now try and imagine if we come up with a situation whereby every time we are unhappy with the president, we go and we remove them by force. What would happen? We can destabilize the country kabisa. Because Ruto is not the last bad guy we'll have. And Ruto is not the first bad guy. Because I hate when people want to rewrite history and put it like, no, Ruto is not the first bad guy that we have. So we are stuck in this situation whereby we have to make up our minds. Like, what do we want? Do we want a situation whereby every time tumekosana na a president, we go and we yank them from office and people die, and we justify that through saying that hata kama watu wamekufa, we've gotten what we wanted? And that's number one. Then number two, do you want to be in a situation whereby we all think the same? So since we want this guy gone yesterday, and Omtatah says no, we can wait for 2027, now we are supposed to cancel Omtatah. Like, what are we coming up with? You can't criticize Ruto for not being democratic and then end up not being democratic. Part of democracy is actually Nini, just taking opinions that you don't agree with and just, handling them. Being like, okay, I don't agree with that, but I respect it. That's part of a democracy. If everything that you want to hear is something that you agree with, then you don't support democracy. You're not a democratic person. So this is democracy. Ubudali sema, alikuwa na feel tukishi hapo tungededishwa. And I said the same thing. I'm anti-Ruto kabisa, na kwa anti-Ruto 100%. But I say the same thing. Yeah, I felt people were going to die. That's why I was surprised that wase waliachiwa kufika that close. State House girls. Because don't forget, walituachia. Mesikia what Murkomen wanted. Murkomen alikuwa amesema, polisi ukiona piga risasi. So they'd already been given a license to kill. So they actually restrained themselves to a certain level. But for us now to turn around and say we want to cancel Omtatah, it's to be very dishonest. So kulikuwa hivyo. Na of course another person who anataka kukansoliwa ni nani anaitwa nani ni Maraga. Na Maraga this time anataka kukansoliwa na mother anaitwa Gladys Shollei. And when I heard this one I was actually happy because ile time kinakaa kina Gladys wameanza kuongea juu yako and trying to unajua make you look small. That's when you know you've started making an impact. And to all the Gen Zs out there, man, if you want change, Maraga, man, yes, if you want change, let's just go a whole other direction. Wacha tuacha na direction ya tribalism and kingpins and all this nonsense. We don't need kings. Najua we already a country. Ushasikia ile joke that kingdoms are run by kings. Emperors run empires. Countries are run by okay, poleni.
Say shame on you, Chief Justice Maraga. You're currently on pension paid by the government. They pay for your cars, they pay for your gardener, they pay for your cook, and then you go to the streets to demonstrate and mislead our children, to destroy people's properties. Shame on you, Chief Justice Maraga. I give my condolences to the families who lost their loved ones. Also, my sympathies with the police officers who are injured. And also, congratulate the police for trying to keep the peace of this country.
Kumecheki kumekuwa na hii narrative ya the police this, the police that, the police this, the police that. And I don't expect anyone this time is going to be arrested for easy extrajudicial killings because no one was caught on TV ama yani on record. Last time at least ya Rex Masai tulibaki tumekatch mtu, so no one was caught. Kumbuka ili kikamtu ile Parliament Road, the few people who are caught through watu wa BBC walienda hapo wakiabductiwa. So I don't think anything is going to happen to the guys who killed people on Wednesday. And don't forget the president had written a love letter. Okay, love letter, yeah, we love you, you're the best, you're the line. Okay.
Honorable Speaker, what happened yesterday was not demonstrations. They were not peaceful demonstrations. Those were acts of hooliganism by criminals who destroyed people's properties. Today, there are people in Nairobi and other parts of the country who are facing bankruptcy. There are people who will not be able to pay for their children to go to school or even feed their families because they have lost everything.
That is very true. And so Musamaga, two things can be true. The protests are not sustainable when it comes to the business community because anyone who has a business ile iko nje anajua hizo chuma zinaweza kuwa ripped outside, ripped apart, that is, and their stores are invaded. So you'll find a lot of people who want change will still be like, you know what, I need to survive. Unajua, I need to survive, and I know that even with all these protests, the earliest that this guy can leave is 2027. So I understand your side, yeah. That's why unachikia hata mseka Murkomen kwa ile story yake tumebonga ile place alienda akisema polisi piga hao risasi, alikuwa anatry to take advantage of that emotion. Ile anajua people who've lost everything. And don't forget, it's the government that facilitated these losses. If the government did not want anyone to enter anywhere, hakuna place watu wangeingia. They'd have guarded the businesses. They intentionally decided not to guard the businesses. And that's why I think pia kulikuwa na footage fulani, I don't know if I can grab it, but there was footage kwa nasemekana makarao pia alienda kwa Naivas fulani wakabaki wameiba. I don't know how true that is, because from your angle sikuwa naonekana ni Naivas ama nini. But the police also steal. Like Kenya, people get a chance to steal, they steal. So, but if at your businesses, yes, I fully understand, and I fully understand the frustration that any business person has, where you invested your life there, and then the protests come and you lose everything. So we, as people who want change, have to be realistic, and the realisticness is these protests, we can't do a lot of them per year. Najua kuna mtoto kwa mwafu mlipwa sijalipwa, ni vile naangalia the reality. The reality is these people are ready to kill as many people as possible, and right now they've made sure that capturing na camera. So with that there's no one to take to court, na alafu wenyewe wamesema the police acted within blah blah blah. Kumbuka 11 people died, so there's that danger. But wacha tuendelee kusikiza mother
and all their investment as in the name that somebody was exercising their right, their constitutional right to demonstrate. Yes, you can exercise your constitutional right to demonstrate, but you cannot exercise your right while you destroy the properties and the rights of others. That is completely unacceptable. Your rights end where the other person's rights start. And so we must guard our country from anarchy. We must take action against those who attacked our police stations. CCTV footage is available. They should be arrested and they should be charged. Because even if they are our children, they are not permitted to destroy people's properties.
So he is to come to history of CCTV footage. There's a story nilicheki ilikuwa interesting. When asemekana ati what did I see? It was something to the effect that the people who robbed one of the stores walienda po wameacha IDs zao hapo nje. So kulikuwa na hii photo ya Murkomen that was going around with Murkomen looking at the photos. But kitu nilicheka ilikuwa ni Kibet Bull alibaki ameshare different day same narrative. Akaeka hizo IDs zile zilikuwa recovered from the criminals. Alafu akaeka tule tungodha tu ile. Akatule tungodha tu ule madara wa nini? Ilikuwa ni Mkuruka Jenga. Ule fala allegedly alibaki amehepa police custody na mpaka leo hajaipatikana. Kwa inaitwa Jumaisi. So ito tungodha na tukumuka tulikuwa tu safi. Cause nakumbuka Rapture ki describe hizi ngodha akisema asiko zina kazi kuna unyevu. Ni kazi ya chomwa na acid. Kwa ujinga Rapture sijaisahau this story. So I found this thing from Kibet Pool to be super funny. But apparently allegedly they recovered IDs. No, the IDs were just laying there. And kulikuwa na hiyo picha ya Murkomen akiangalia hizo IDs go like these are the goons. Hata magoons wako wajinga aje walikuwa naiba alafu atoe ID zao ziangushe ama kuzmuizi ataiba wallet alafu atarusha ID. So I don't know what was happening hapo.
Or to burn down the government property, vehicles, police stations, courthouses. And I must say, shame on you, Chief Justice Maraga. You're currently on pension paid by the government. They pay for your cars, they pay for your gardener, they pay for your cook. And then you go to the streets to demonstrate and mislead our children, to destroy people's properties. Shame on you, Chief Justice Maraga.
Okay, so shame on you, Chief Justice Maraga. So did Maraga alikuwa side za Nation Center. Was any shop burnt around Nation Center? Was any shop even destroyed around Nation Center? A lot of these shops that were destroyed downtown. As zilikuwa destroyed downtown in places where protesters were not there. It was the police moving around with guns. And I think the person that I saw alikuwa amepostio ilikuwa Daddy Owen. I think Daddy Owen had posted that. Ile kuonyesha like easy things. You can try to discredit the protests in your own way, but let's be factual. Where the protesters were and where the robbing was happening, ama the breaking into shops was happening, was very different. Hii kitu ilikuwa ina happen huko chini na protesters walikuwa huku juu. So hii ni upumbavu kabisa. And I think ilikuwa nini? Yes, I think this is what Daddy Owen alikuwa ameandika. Peaceful protesters were gathered in the CBD around Nation Center, Koinange Street, Kenyatta Avenue, Uhuru Highway, etc. No one mentioned being near OTC, nor were there videos from OTC. Goons and looters were there clearly staged to tarnish the image of protesters. And this takes us back to ile nini footage ilikuwa imetoka from BBC. Ile karibu na St. Peter's Clavers, ama ni Clavers, okay, hiyo jina. And these goons were walking around and even beating protesters. That shows you that the police walikuwa nafaa kuwa na handle hiyo area. The police were there, but they just decided to ignore these goons. And this is why the goons ended up destroying stuff. So we have to be factual. And the government, it all goes back to kitu moja nilikuwa nimesema before, and I'll keep repeating it. You have to agree there's a problem. And the problem is you are a very unpopular government. You can push blame to everyone, but people will still know the truth. Because the reason is, right now kuna a lot of information. Because kitu moja ilikuwa funny. Like on Wednesday, another thing that they did was they slowed down the internet. This was very interesting. Like, Morgan a very fast internet speeds where like a video, ya kitu kama 30 minutes, 20 minutes takes around 2-3 minutes to upload. And that's a lot of GB. This is like 7 GB. To a very short time, maybe let's say 3 minutes. And yesterday, on Wednesday, a video was taking around maybe 20 minutes to 30 minutes to upload. So yeah, kuna vile walikuwa wamezinyonga. I don't know how they did it, because nikifanya speed test kwa zanikalia ziko poa. Nikitry ku upload video niko chikina drag. So I don't know kile walikuwa wamefanya. But kulikuwa na hiyo, and Then nikimalizia hii story, kulikuwa na hii article ya Nation you find interesting on Ojwang murder, Ruto dragged in alleged cover up of DIG Lagat. So ilikuwa ni President Ruto is among 19 people and state offices sued on Wednesday by a group of 20 petitioners alleging a scheme to shield Deputy Inspector General of Police Eliud Lagat from taking responsibility for the murder of teacher Albert Ojwang. And this is very true. Of course they're going to shield this guy. I don't think and nilikuwa na ile conversation we have with Brian Obuya as Prophet Habakkuk ended up predicting that this guy was going to be untouchable, and that ended up happening. But it's one of the stories that I didn't want to be true and I didn't want to be right, that is about, but kama kawaida I was right about it. Najua mimi ni Prophet Habakkuk and the Lord works in mysterious ways. Iko nene.